Sorry that last video ended so abruptly. My next class came in when I was filming. So we are back, ready to do some actual example problems with this quadratic exponential equation idea. So let's take a look here. Notice we are in quadratic form. I have e to the x, and then twice that exponent would give me 2x, so that is good to go. I am going to use this dummy variable m, substituting it in for e to the x. So I have right here m squared, because that's e to the x squared. This is going to be plus 6m minus 16 equals 0. At this point, I could try to factor it, perhaps. I am going to skip that step and just go to my quadratic formula. You could factor this one. Yeah, I'm seeing it now. And so we'll see when we do our quadratic formula, because this is nicely factorable, our quadratic formula is going to give us very nice whole number answers or possibly fractions. So here we go. If I use my quadratic formula, that is going to be that m is equal to negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a, plugging in my a, b, and c values as I go. That's going to give me negative 6 plus minus square root of 36 plus, real quick, 16 times 4. I get 64 all over 2. That's negative 6 plus minus 100, square root of 100 over 2. Negative 6 plus minus 10 over 2. When I split this, if I add it first, I am going to get 4 over 2, which is just 2. If I subtract it, I'm going to get negative 16 over 2, which is negative 8. So m is 2 or negative 8, but m is not what I was solving for. So now I'm going to resubstitute. If m is 2, that means e to the x is 2, or e to the x is negative 8. So at this point, I just have to solve these little equations. I'm going to take the natural log of both sides. This lets me take my exponent of x, multiply it out front. So I have x times the ln of e equals the ln of 2. But the beautiful thing about the ln of e is that that is just equal to 1. So I have x equals the natural log of 2. And real quick, the natural log of 2 is roughly 0.69. So there's one of my answers. Now, this guy, if I take the natural log of both sides, again, same thing's going to work out over here, but I'm going to have x equal to the natural log of negative 8. Notice what happens on my calculator. If I take the natural log of negative 8, I have an error. I am not allowed to take the natural log, or any logarithm really, of a negative number. It doesn't work. Or 0, so be aware of that. No log of 0 or negative numbers. Just be aware of that. Therefore, out of this side, we get no solutions. But we still got one over here, so we have one answer, and it is x is equal to 0.69. There we go. The next one, I have another quadratic form. Be aware, though, I need it to equal 0 before I move on. So I'm going to subtract this 5 over. I have, real quick, just making a distinction there, 4e to the 4x plus 8e to the 2x minus 5 equals 0. Again, I'm not going to worry about factoring this. I'm just going to go straight for my quadratic formula. I know it works every single time. And I'm going to put in a dummy variable just to keep everything straight and on track. So I'm going to use m again, but you can really use anything. The key to this one, though, is it has to stand for this middle piece right here. So this is e to the 2x power. So over here, once again, I'm going to get 4m squared, since it's e to the 2x squared. That's going to be m squared. Plus 8m minus 5 equals 0. When I do my quadratic formula, I get m is equal to negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. Once again, if this is factorable, it's going to give us very nice whole numbers. Let's see here. This over here is going to give me 80. And I think this one's going to work out really well as well. Here we go. That is 144 all over 8. I know the square root of 144 is 12. all over 8. If I split that, and real quick, I saw some people make this mistake in class, so don't let this happen to you. Make sure that this 8 is under everything. So make sure you do this addition and subtraction before you divide by 8. If I add, I'm going to end up with 4 over 8, which is 1/2. If I do subtraction, I'm going to get negative 20 over 8, which is, if I divide by 2, no, I can divide by 4, negative 5/2. So now I resubstitute. I would have e to the 2x is equal to 1/2, or e to the 2x is equal to negative 5 over 2. Well, right away, this is a negative. If I take the natural log, it's not going to work out for me, so this would be no solution. So I can stop on that one. This one, I can keep going. I'm going to take the natural log of both sides. When I take the natural log over here, I am just going to get my exponent out front. Ln of e is just 1, so I have 2x equals the natural log of 1/2. I'm going to plug that into my calculator in a moment. Before I do that, though, I'm going to divide by 2. So I have the natural log of 1/2 all divided by 2. Natural log of 1/2. Notice I close the parenthesis before I divide by 2. There we go. So my x value is negative 0.346. I'm going to round that up to 3.5. There we go. So I can have negative answers, that's fine, but I cannot take the natural log of negative things, or any log of a negative thing. This last one we are not going to solve the whole way through, but I wanted you to see it because there is a homework problem like this. So take a look. Notice the problem here is not quite looking like it's in quadratic form, but it is close. So here's what we're going to do. We know that this guy right here is really funky, right? It's a negative exponent, negative x. So notice though, I could rewrite this like this. I would have negative x pops it to the denominator as e to the positive x, equaling 0. I don't like that it's there. My quadratics don't have that. So what I'm going to do is multiply the whole equation, both sides, by e to the x. Distribute it to every single piece. Over here, that's going to give me 11e to the x squared, but I know that's just 11e to the 2x. Over here, I'm going to get negative 51e to the x, and right here, this is the wonderful part, my e to the x is going to cancel with the one in the denominator, leaving me with just a negative 20, equaling 0. So, all in all, this is my quadratic, and I can solve it from there. We're not going to keep going with that one because it's just the same as the above, but know that this can happen. If you have an e to the x with a negative x, just pop it to the denominator, multiply everything, it'll clear out that denominator and get you the exponents that you need. There we go. So those are 3 example problems for you. Last thing here is your homework page. There are 4. Try those out. Again, there's that example just like the last one you saw. Stay tuned for the next video and you will see the solutions for all of these, but for now just take a couple moments and solve those 4 out. There we go, and stay tuned for the next video.